Hey guys, today I've got a mermail profile here. Recently Divas came off the list and I've been playing this deck recently and it's been feeling really good, very strong, very consistent. And I just want to show a somewhat of an updated list of what this deck would look like. And then I'll quickly go through one or two little things you can do to change it throughout. So first we've got 3 Diva. I can't find my third, somewhere in the bulk. It's a very solid card. One's the card starter. It's your main normal summon. It's a tuner, so you can make needle fiber. Summons out Neptunus from deck, which then sorts out your whole plays, which is very strong. Speaking of that, we've got 3 Neptunus. Sends Atlantean from deck to grave to search for Atlantean. So you send goons, search goons, and infected goons to search for Megalo, or whatever you need at that point. And if it is pitched from a water monster's effect, like gets sent to the grave for a water monster's effect, you get to bring back an Atlantean apart from itself. So you can bring back goons, which then makes your rank 4 plays a lot more viable. Really solid card. Then we've got 3 goons, searches most cards in your deck. This when it gets pitched, search for a sea serpent. Not once per turn, and it's a stupid card. Then we've got 2 more Atlanteans. We've got a heavy infantry and a marksman. What these do is when they get sent to grave from a water monster's effect, or for a water monster's effect, so sent for cost. This one pops face down, this one pops face up. So your link to mermail becomes a trident when you have this in hand, basically. Then we go into a mermails. We've got 3 Teus and 3 Megalo. So what these do is, Teus, you pitch a water from your hand, special summon from hand, and then on summon it searches for a mermail. And Megalo is the same, but it pitches 2, and it searches for a abyss scale, which is their in archetype crit spell, which then negates spell, trap, or monster effect depending on which one you get. This plus goons is a full combo to rip 3 cards out of your hand, your opponent's hand, and then also set up VFD, which is really strong. Megalo is your game winner. He does a lot of damage because it can attack twice if you send a face-up attack position water monster from your field to grave. And that also triggers off all your mermail and Atlantean effects, which these cards are really solid. You can also make VFD with these guys very easily due to one of the mermails. And worst case scenario, you can make a Gaius, which is still very strong. Then for the mermails, we've got a Gunge, we've got a Pike, and we've got a Manda. So Gunge, when it gets discarded, it specials a mermail from grave. Pike, so when it's normal summoned or special summoned, you pitch a water to then search for a level 3 or lower water monster. And then Manda, you can banish from your grave to then increase all the levels of mermails in your field by 1 or 2. So you can make your level 7s level 9s, or you can make it into level 8s to make rank 8 plays, but VFD is a lot better in that situation. Then we'll play 1 Moon Glacier. This one says rip 2 cards out of your opponent's hand just by having 5 waters in grave, and that is very easy in this deck. The only caveat with it is if you get sent from field to grave, I skip the next battle phase, but hopefully after this they should be on the last leg. You can play 1 Lapis Dragon. This says when it gets added to hand from deck or grave, you can special summon it. And since the sea serpent is easily searchable through goons, and it's also a tuner, so you can make needle fiber with it very easily. There's a solid one of just a utility card. Then we got 3 Sword Frog and 1 Ronin. I still like the Frog engine in this, even with Toad going to 1, because you only played 1 in the first place. But this is really solid for extra extenders for water monsters, and just setting up a Toad as well with the full board is just so strong. So off Needle Fiber, I've chosen a few different cards what other people normally go for. I go for a Vela and an Ogre. I wanted to have a tuner which I could also use if I draw it, so I went for hand traps. Vela is there so you can synchro to level 8 using a level 7 and itself to make Savage Dragon. This Ogre's there for mainly just for another interruption, because You can summon this off of Needle Fiber, and you can just use it to tribute yourself off to then just blow up a card when it activates effect, which is very strong. It just means more versatility with the deck, and I feel it's a lot better like this. Now on to the spells. I've got that was 28 monsters and we're playing a 40 card list. We got 2 scales. Normally people just go for Misushi, which negates your first spell, which negates Super Poly or Dark Ruler. But I prefer to use 2 because there's been so many times where Megalo has the opportunity to search 2 or 3 times, and I like the extra attack and the negate which it can give. So this one negates traps, this one negates spells, and the other one, Abyss Scale of a Kraken, I believe, negates monsters. These 2 are really strong. The only issue is they negate the first one, so they can just bait out with it upstart and that's your negate gone, but it means that they have to use a card to bait it out. Then the power 1-offs, we've got a Reborn, a Instant Fusion, and a 1-for-1. Reborn is a really good extender. Bring back a Goons to make your rank 4 plays. Bring back a Megalo to overlay for 7 or make a VFD. Or just bring back things like Abyss Acer to then make Ball Sword. It's really strong. Instant Fusion is there for your cross sheet play to make Bahamut Shark. It's really strong. Size went to 1, but it does alright. Then 1-for-1 is a really good starter. It brings out Neptune from the deck, which then starts your whole plays off, and you can search for a Diva to bring back to then normal summon another Neptune, which you probably wouldn't do in the state of just preserving resources, but it is a play which you can do, and it does create a lot of bodies on field. Then we play 3 Cold Grave. You need it in this deck. This deck dies to hand traps, especially draw. Best thing to do is just put it in there. If you draw it, perfect. Now you can play. If you don't draw it and you get hand traps, sometimes you can play through it, sometimes you can't. And worst case scenario, if you don't use it, just set it and use it as a trap. It's really solid. Then for the draw spells, we got 2 Moray and 2 Avarice. Moray is just a decent consistency buff. I don't like it, and I do like it. I probably would play it at 1, just because there's been times where I draw it and it's just not live. It's just a rubbish card. It's a dead card in hand. But it is a decent card at the end of the day. It does fix a lot of hands. And then Avarice, I always feel that I run out of resources, run out of steam very quickly with this deck. So I like to just shuffle back all my mermails and then just do it all again next time. And it draws 2. It's not once per turn either, so if you have a really nutty hand, you can go through both of these and just draw 4 cards for free. So that's the main deck. Going on to the extra, we got 1 Toad, sadly. This went down to 1. You'd only play at 1, but I'm a player at heart, so it hurts me to see that it's at 1. But the deck is still playable, that is Paleo, but you only play 1. It's a really solid card, Omni Negate. And it also adds back waters from your grave to hand. Then we've got the rank 4s, we've got a Dweller and a Shark. Shark is there to bring out the Toad if you don't have your top 4 plays going. And it also triggers your Goons as well as the Dweller. And the Dweller is really strong because of the format we're going into. It's going to be not as grave reliant as it has before, but it is still a really good utility piece to have in your deck. Then we got the big Xyz, we've got a Calamities and a Gaius. So Calamities says no to any monster effect you want. Cold Dark, no monsters on the opponent's side of the field, hand, banish or grave with that same attribute can activate effects, and it changes all attributes on the field to that attribute you declared. So it's a blanket no, and it affects the player, not the card. So even things which are unaffected by everything, you still can't activate effects. Then Gaius is like a mini Calamities, where it's a quick effect, just blanket negate the field with everything less attack from it, which does come up, but it's not as good as Calamities, truth be told. And then we go for one fusion monster, we go for the Mud Dragon. We put this in there for the instant fusion to make the Bahamut Shark combo, but you can also just have Super in your side deck. and then just play this because it is a really good target, this format. I haven't put a side deck together for this profile because no one knows what the format's going to be exactly. Once we start playing or have some games going on, I'll sort out some side deck choices for decks like this. But until then, we don't really know much. Then we've got two synchros. We've got a Locust and a Savage. Locust, you summon it off a Needle Fiber and you flip another card at your opponent's hand, so they play 3 cards instead of 6. And then Savage is just the Omni Negate, which can make it most hands. It's not as common as things like the VFD, but it's still a really good option to have in your extra deck in case you need to. Then Link 2s, we've got 5 here. This is a Needle Fiber because I haven't got mine yet. Opened a few boxes, didn't pull one, so I need to order one in soon. Really solid card, gets loads of advantage off of it. Rips another card at your opponent's hand through a deck Locust, and it brings out tuners from deck very easily. An Enemy is when you need to bring back your Slot Frog from grave to then trigger it to make your Toad very easily. The only issue is it locks you into water, so you can't VFD your opponent that turn. But you normally do this close to the end of your combo, so you can still make things like Appaloosa and VFD, and then just trigger this to get a Toad. This here is very strong. You pitch a card to then search a mermail, so you can pitch a infantry or marksman, just pop a card and then search a card. When it dies, it sends one from deck to grave and then summons one from grave. So you can also send a heavy infantry then, and then summon out a Teus if you need it, a Megalo, any water monster basically. Cross Sheep is for the instant fusion play with doing this. Instant fusion, bring back summon out of a Mud Dragon, bring back a Goons, overlay for a Shark, detach the Goons off a Shark to bring back Toad, and then Goons will then search the card, and you normally be able to Moon Glacier on top of that. And the Lambdas is here as a Giant Link 2. It's going to be changed out soon enough, since it is going to Master Rule 5, but it's okay for right now. And then we've got the 2 Link 4s, we've got Appaloosa and a Bowl Sword. You kind of need these to be competitive in this format. Appaloosa says Negate, and it's the only card which really does that in the game, so you kind of have to play it. And Bowl Sword ends games by itself. You'll just win for free, just because you have this guy in your extra deck. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this profile. Let me know if you want to see some combos with the deck, because I'll happily do them, and keep your eye out because we've got a lot more deck profiles coming up. We have Block Dragon, Burning Abyss, we got DDD, we have Fluffle, we have, what's some other ones? We got Parazoic, and we've got 1 or 2 more, I can't remember off the top of my head, but we've got a lot of decks built for this format. So I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.